right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Star Wars Weekly Review. We're looking at episode 4 of Star Wars The Bad Batch. And this episode is called Cornered. That is the title. So before we jump into the episode, I want to share a little bit of fun Star Wars news, and then I'll share my brief thoughts about the episode, and then we'll go down the line. But before that, I want to intro really quick. We have my girl, Erin. Say hi, Erin.
Hi.
And we got Nico Skywalker. What's up, man?
Hello. Hello.
And we got my buddy Star Wars lawyer here on the bottom. Say what's up. Make some noise.
What's good, people?
Star Wars guy, he wouldn't be able to join us today, but he'll be back on later this week. So, as I was saying, we have Star Wars news that I wanted to talk about. This may not be like really big news to a lot of you guys, but some of you guys may have seen it floating around like on your Twitter feed or Instagram, whatever. So Dave Filoni is now executive producer / executive creative director at Lucasfilm. I think to many, this really isn't a big surprise. You know what I mean? Like, especially like seeing everything that he's had his hands in over the last few years and just his close relationship, obviously, with Lucasfilm and George. So, I mean, it was a long time coming. And I think there's definitely some confusion people have in terms of like Kathleen Kennedy's role and exactly what her job is. Like, she has always been the person that's behind the business decisions, you know, at Lucasfilm. So that's not anything new. But this is exciting and a cool, I think, title, you know, for Dave. And as fans, I think for me, if anything, it just makes me more excited because, yeah, I think if you're a fan of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, you're a fan of Bad Batch, you're a fan of Rebels, maybe even Resistance, some of you guys who are out there, you know, then this should be exciting because it's like, hey, things that are to come, if we know that this guy is behind it going forward, period, like that's really exciting. So that's a little bit of Star Wars news. And aside from that, if you guys are into collecting in terms of the Funko world, this was just revealed. So we got a lot of the Mandalorian Funko Pops. I'm a Funko collector. I have a few of my own. So I think these are pretty cool. Like you got the Dark Trooper, the newer Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Mando with his helmet off. And you know, you got Bo-Katan and of course the child. So a couple cool Funkos. Now, I'm also thinking about this right here. So Bad Batch, they have there's a few different sites like Target, eBay, where you can buy them all in bulk, like all the characters. I think there's one on eBay I'm looking at this like $50. So if you guys are into the Funko stuff, especially for Bad Batch, I say definitely get them while you can because they're going to sell out like
I need them all.
crazy. Yeah, Nico, you already know. I think you you got some that I wanted to get. I haven't pre-ordered them yet. It's the Ben Solo and the Rey. And I was thinking, and you know what's funny is they have them at Target. The only ones I've seen are like the Palpatine. Everything else is sold out. Like for Ben and Rey and like some of the other ones, but the only ones I've seen there are like Palpatine and no one wants Palpatine, so whatever. So yeah, get these while you can. Now, let's jump into the episode, you guys. We got 40 minutes on our show, so we'll have plenty of time since it's just us four today. Now, starting off in this episode, we're on a planet called Pantora, basically where, you know, Tech, he's attempting to like scramble their tracking on their ship. Instead, they are located and tracked down and basically ratted out by a local, but they're tracked down by Fennec Shan, who appears to be after Omega, which I find interesting. We're going to talk more about that because I want to hear you guys' thoughts. And then Fennec Shan, she has this theme music, man. It's like, it reminds me of Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like every scene she has, she's got her little theme music. I'm like, okay, I like it. I like it, man. And she just seems more intimidating to me in her earlier moments. I don't know, there's this edginess to her that I just really like. And maybe that's always been there, you know, like since The Mandalorian. Maybe I need to rewatch that episode or a few episodes that she was in, but I don't know, I like the edginess to her. It's badass. And by the way, Aaron, future cosplay, I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there. And then, you know, another scene I thought was compelling. I'm going through this list just briefly because I want you guys to talk about it afterwards. Another thing I thought was really compelling was the celebrating the end of the war and exchanging old credits for Imperial currency. and it just seems like such a bittersweet thing, and it's like kind of like gross and scary at the same time. Us as viewers, because we're like, you see people on different planets celebrating, like, yes, it's the end of the Clone Wars. They're excited about the Empire, but we're like, why are you guys excited about the Empire? Like, this is not a good thing. And it just sets up like, you're gonna see that twist and change, like even with the people in different worlds, in this universe where they're like, they'll soon learn like the Empire is not what they think it is, which I feel is really interesting. And then another thing I thought was really funny was Echo was sold as a droid. I just thought that the humor of that was just hilarious to me. And then another thing, Omega, she was chasing these alien dogs. I first seen them in like Resistance. If any of you guys have watched that, there's like a character that had one of those same pets as like her pet. That's where I first seen them. So yeah, that was a fun little minor Easter egg. And then of course, we have Hunter versus Fennec Shan, which I want you guys to elaborate on, which I thought was a fantastic fight. It was very enjoyable. Like that was probably the highlight of the episode for sure. And then lastly, for my point, Wrecker got hit in the head again. I don't know if like this is just his thing, like George of the Jungle, like crashing into trees, or if this is build up for this guy. Like he is suffering brain damage. I don't know, man. So enough from me, but this is what I want to do. So now with all of that being said, and talking about the things I listed on my little notes, what are some things, we'll start with you, Aaron. What are some things you took away from the episode?
Okay, when I saw Fennec, I definitely let out a little squeal. I was like, yay! Even though I know, like, she's just one of those characters. She's a bounty hunter, but she's edgy. I really like her character.
Yep.
An interesting note, when one of the local that had ratted them out, and he was scared that Fennec was going to come back. He's like, no, like he was afraid of her, getting ready to do something, but she still paid him. And she said, let me know if you have any more clues. And she left him be. And I thought that was really telling of her character. Even though she's edgy, she's a bounty hunter, she does things for money, she still kind of has, a sense of like she's not this sadistic evil person that one would think a bounty hunter is. So
but I just thought that edginess and that badass, like as that scene that you're talking about, I was like, you just feel the intimidation,
definitely.
Which I really like that.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was a good thing, because like, oh, okay, they're kind of showing us that, got a little, she's a decent person, she's not this horrible. But I also thought the part with the market that was cheering for the Empire because the war was over, also too, was really good. It shows that these people were just so tired of the Clone Wars. And again, cheering for these the Empire, and we know, but they don't. They're just like, yay, someone's here to like fix everything. They're gonna make everything better, and it's like, ooh. And then another point was, they were registering people, registering ships, and changing all the currency. They're like, whatever currency you have now is useless. You need to exchange them for credits. I was like, wow, like this is really how you take over a galaxy. Like, it really good point.
It felt really dark and heavy for sure.
Yeah, it is heavy, definitely. But those were probably the main points I took out of it again. Yeah, I also noticed Wrecker got hit again. I was like, can you guys, if something happens to this, I'm going to be so, but I loved it when he came back in. He was like, man, I'm missing all the action. Please sit down. I don't want you to get bumped to that again. So yeah,
I'm not leaving that point alone, man. I'm calling it now. I do believe that Wrecker, this is just build up. Like my boy is about to suffer brain damage aside from just the inhibitor chip. I'm just saying. So
right.
Star Wars lawyer, man, talk to us. What you think about this episode?
I mean, maybe that hit to the head, because I rewound it back after. I was like, wait, did he get hit in the head again? Maybe that, knocked the inhibitor chip back into place, because his last one he was like, my head, and this one he was just like knocked out, and then he was back to it, and he's like, I'm missing all the action. So I was like, he's back to his normal self.
Maybe, yeah, right.
Hopefully.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so for Finnick, echoing a lot of what Aaron said, but a lot of what we got in her in Mandalorian was a lot of blaster action. We had a few moments of hand-to-hand combat, but now we see her going up against Wrecker, who we've seen know that he can handle himself.
Yeah.
And so instead of her just going up against, some stormtrooper, she's going up with someone that we've seen have hand-to-hand combat, and she, gets the better of them and then gets the better of Wrecker. So it's just like, yeah. And she's not just a one episode character. She will be back.
Yeah, she's a badass. She's really cool, man.
And then lastly, I think last episode I said it seemed like the Kaminoans didn't care that Omega was gone. I feel like I was a little bit wrong there. It seems like I feel like they're the ones that hired Finnick, which if you're gonna hire someone, you hired the right person.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. We're gonna touch back on that. Don't let me forget, because there's a thought that I have behind that. But yeah, is that all your thoughts so far?
Yeah, so far I like the episode.
Good. Nico, talk to us, man.
So this episode, I couldn't stop noticing how Finnick's interactions with Omega were almost motherly like. Like she was teaching her new things. She was like, oh yeah, before she dropped her on the car, she was like, make sure to tuck and roll.
Yeah.
And even at the end of the episode, when the explosion happened, she was limping because she didn't tuck and roll.
Yeah.
Which was a funny little thing I thought they added in. But also, yeah, it didn't seem like anything malicious at all, which leads me to, what is she in it for? Like at the end of the day, what's her goal?
Yeah, that is true. I agree with that. I feel like we're definitely going to see, obviously, more Fennec Shan, later in the show. Which leads me back to, I guess, a point both of you guys are making is, number one, who, and this is, I want everyone to kind of chime in on this. Who do you think hired her? Number one, and we're just speculating here. Who hired Fennec Shan to basically track down Omega? But this is where I think it's not the Kaminoans, only because if you remember, like, what was it, episode 1? Like, you clearly seen like they allowed her to escape, with Clone Force 99. And I feel like they didn't make any, at least the what's the female Kaminoan? I forget her name.
Nala Se?
I think so. She definitely allowed it to happen, allowed for her to escape. So in my brain, I'm like, well, maybe it's not them, but I guess in the same sense, who else would know anything about, Omega other than, the Kaminoans? And I guess maybe that would touch on more of like what her future purpose would be. I don't know. So I'm curious for you guys, who do you think basically hired Fennec Shan? Like, why is she here and after Omega? Anyone can chime in on this.
So I think it's the Kaminoans and not the Empire. Besides the fact that we believe the Empire doesn't know anything about Omega, they still could. You never know.
Yeah.
But if we see Fennec Shan still being a bounty hunter throughout until the Mandalorian, it makes me think that she didn't fail the Empire, because those that failed the Empire didn't really, live to tell the tale that much, like it, especially if they were bounty hunters. Yeah. But with the Kaminoans, I think they sort of had to let her escape because she was captured with the Bad Batch. So if they were all going to escape, then they could go retrieve her without the Empire knowing.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
What about you two? What do you think?
I think I lean more towards the Kaminoans, just because if Fennec Shan didn't seem to especially when she knocked out Wrecker, she could have killed him or hurt him in any kind of way. It doesn't seem like she's necessarily vengeful or murderous against any of them, which I don't know if that's her or her assignment. I think I'm leaning more towards the Kaminoans hiring her.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Aaron?
I agree. And I wonder, Nico, to add to your point, if the reason why she was kind and motherly to her is because she's supposed to bring her in unharmed because she's the Kaminoans like next phase, and they need her obviously to be in, in good condition. So I wonder if it was them and she was just being, didn't hurt her, didn't treat her bad or anything because she's not supposed to, like, bring her back unharmed. So I wonder, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. But I mean, ultimately, it was just so fun, like seeing Fennec Shand. I thought it was really enjoyable. Yeah. I'm not letting go of the thought. I keep saying it, but I'm calling it, man. I still feel like there's some intentionality with, with Wrecker specifically. He's the big, bulky, Hulk-ish kind of character in this group. And I feel like when you always have a character like that, 9 times out of 10, something goes wrong, in that team setting. And it would be more crazy and impactful even with him because he's a gentle giant. We see that, like, he's still a badass, but at the same time, you see, like, he's like the cool, fun uncle, to Omega. He still has those, nice and lovable, moments. And I think when and if it does happen, that moment where like he snaps or something happens, the inhibitor chip is activated in some form or fashion, a new initiative or something, I think is really going to hit fans hard for sure. I think it would be really
terrible.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this in the last episode. I feel like out of everyone, he would probably be first. I feel like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like for something to go wrong in this particular group, it's probably going to be with Wrecker. So I don't know.
Just that little moment where Omega sees him and she runs up to him, like hugs him and he picks her up. And then, she, sees Fennec. He's like, you mess with the kid. You mess with me. And I'm like, yeah, Wrecker.
Yeah. So we'll see. There's so much to think about, going into the next few episodes. But this episode was fun. I'm happy we're able to see Fennec Shand. And I do, now that we're talking about it, I kind of agree. Maybe it is the Kaminoans, but you never know. At first I was like, and here's another thought. Do you think that, I highly doubt it, but, did Fennec Shand have any interaction with Boba Fett earlier on in, her journey as a bounty hunter? You would have to think as a bounty hunter, maybe at some point they cross paths. That necessarily wasn't elaborated on in The Mandalorian. She said that Boba Fett, she's indebted to him because he saved her life. But we also don't know if she didn't, we don't know, like, if they may have crossed paths, earlier on, like during this time period, which I think would be interesting. I don't necessarily see Boba being the guy that, she's working for, to hunt down Omega. I'm like, I don't know what the hell he would want Omega for, but that's just another thought. Like, I wonder if they ever crossed paths earlier on, but I guess we'll find out.
I wonder if we'll find out in the War of the Bounty Hunters event going on in the comics, because they're bringing all kinds of bounty hunters in. So
yes, and by the way, I reviewed the first issue. It's on the channel. Just throwing that out there in the atmosphere. Watch it. It's a good video. But yes, and the writer behind that is Charles Soule. So if anyone reads the Darth Vader comics, if you read Light of the Jedi for High Republic, then you will love the Bounty Hunter War stuff. It's good stuff. I love Charles Soule. So yeah. Without further ado, I mean, that's pretty much all I have. Did you guys have any final thoughts about this episode 4?
If Wrecker bumps his head again, I hope we're supposed to be laughing. Like, I hope this is just a joke we're supposed to laugh at.
Yeah.
Not like,
it's like,
is
this happening to him because he's just like this big, guy who's always getting knocked around, or is this like a looming sad thing about to happen? Like,
yeah, you said it, Aaron. I think that's kind of where my thought is. It's like, okay, either like this is his thing, you know what I mean,
right.
Or again, it's like Easter eggs leading up to something horrific,
terrifying.
Yeah, what if it is a fake out? We think it's like, oh, it's gonna be a Wrecker, and then it's like Hunter or something.
No, You can't
And then
kill
Omega-
Rambo. Come on, man.
And then Omega's just like Omega has to like essentially do what Ahsoka did with Rex, but instead of just using the Force, it's just like she's like calming him down.
You know, that would be Dave Filoni to throw us a curveball, but
Mhm.
you know, so I mean, I wouldn't doubt that there could be some confusion purposely, you know, to kind of sway people to think a certain
Right.
way, you know.
Yeah.
So
Just leave it to me to throw out the crazy, heartbreaking theories.
yeah, man.
That hurt. That hurt.
Well, guys, this has been fun. By the way, if anyone's on TikTok, follow all of us on there. Erin, she's on TikTok as well as Nico Skywalker and Star Wars Lawyer. And we all have a blast doing lots of fun Star Wars stuff. Me and my buddy, a Star Wars Lawyer, we did a Lando and Mando little duet thing, which was really fun. So if you're on TikTok, we all have tons of fun on there, man. So definitely come and follow all of us. I'll post everyone's links in the description. And we will see you next week for the next episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch. Peace.
Peace.
Ah.